This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Everybody's doing okay here on a very brisk, my goodness, brisk morning. Yes, the wind, unfortunately, has returned. Good morning, Prometheus. I hope the shingles made it through last night. I have no idea. Got in about 1 a.m., 1:30 when I laid down. So I don't know. It's dark. We'll see. I doubt they did. Hope everybody's good. Andy Bitter joins us from Tech Sideline. That'll be at 7:05. Dwight Vick at 8 o'clock. Or I guess Andy at 7. I was just on radio time there with the 05. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room or on the professional door text line 540-391-0788. Did not run into any all right, let's see. Did not run into any snow. Other one, well, a little bit of snow as you're coming up the mountain. climbing up 77 to go down the mountain to get to that joyous exit 32 that takes you onto I-81. The upper slope of the mountain was pretty snowy, and the trucks were going very, very slow. It got because you're at that really high elevation too, but it wasn't too bad once you came down and leveled off. And then once you got on 81, there wasn't really anything at all snow wise. So that's good. That was good. So we made it. Radford got a win. Virginia Tech, I was following that game on the way home, trying to. It was weird. Y'all let me know. I'm driving, and apparently there was a massive Verizon outage because I'm, just leaving. I always like to stop just to stretch my legs at the rest area when you go down the mountain and you enter North Carolina. Prometheus is dealing with bad driving guy this morning on 460 East. Hey, Opal, good morning, First Lady of Chat. How are you? I'm sorry about that, Prometheus. Bad driving guy. Nothing like bad driving guy when it's windy and cold. But so I'm pulling into that rest area, and as I'm coming out going back to the university van, I noticed that my phone is just done. It's just gone haywire, and it's turned itself off, turned back on. And then when I turn back on, I'm told that I have no service whatsoever, because apparently later on that evening later on that afternoon when I got to Gardner Webb, they said there was a massive Verizon national outage or something. So fortunately, I'm sitting there at the rest area going, oh boy, now I don't have my GPS. I just knew I had to get to Shelby, and then I could find Gardner Webb. So I knew I had to get off on 85, and I just, the old-fashioned way where you just kind of look for roads. I know, right? So I did that, took off 85, and you head toward Spartanburg and Kings Mountain, and then eventually you see Gardner Webb University, exit, blah, blah, blah. So you're just kind of feeling your way through there. So TLB says, yeah, my Verizon phone still hasn't fully restored to full cell service. Opal says she didn't have it either, or internet all day. Yeah, so apparently it was a big mess. It started to work itself out in the evening last night. So I guess anybody who wasn't on Verizon, you didn't notice, but anybody who was, well, me. And of course, my home internet here, which works great from Verizon since they upgraded. I wasn't sure if I'd have a show today because I'm thinking, well, if I don't have internet, we're done. But fortunately, it looks like we're working. We're up and running. No, Virginia Tech did not win. I had to hear it a few times to believe it. But it was another situation. They're up 4 with under 20 seconds to go. SMU cuts it to 2. Tech can't get the ball in bounds. So they turn it over. All right. With a few seconds to go. And then Boopy Miller, who we talked about, hit a half-court shot. And when I say a half-court shot, it was a half-court shot. He released it just barely before the light and the buzzer. It went in, and SMU beat Tech 77-69. 76. And that is just a devastating loss for Tech. That would have been massive for them. So they lose that game 77-76 last night. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So who do you think Tech will play in the first round of the NIT? Well, that one stings, man. Stanford lost at home, and then that one, I think they're still okay because the ACC's net ranking is so large, but they're going to have to fix things. They got Notre Dame coming in. Notre Dame's not great. They go to Syracuse. I mean, they've got some tough games coming up, but they have some winnable games too. Just amazing. And I thought that Zach Mackey sounded crestfallen in the post game of the Stanford game. Boy, he was just crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then Radford won 89-80, but Gardner Webb, I got down there to interview Jeremy Luther, the Gardner Webb head coach. Great guy. He was the associate head coach for Tim Kraft for years, who did such a marvelous job there, who got the head coaching job at Western Carolina. And I sit down with him, and they're struggling. They were 2-16, and he goes, "Well, Rick, we're down 3 starters tonight. Our top bench players out, so they were out 4 of their rotation last night. So he really only had 6 scholarship players. He had to play 2 walk-ons last night. And you know how I knew they were walk-ons? Because Gardner Webb has their name on the back of their jersey, and the 2 guys on the floor that were walk-ons did not. But yet here they are. They jump out. It was a 9-1 lead. Then they led 20-8. You're thinking, okay. But Radford settled down and got the win. 27 for Dale Jones. He had 27 points. So the Highlanders got the win, and they set up a big game with Longwood on Saturday. We have breaking news this morning just reported. John Harbaugh is now the new head football coach for the New York Giants. How about that? Todd Grantham, that guy, what did he tell us on Monday? He said that Harbaugh was wanted by every team that had an opening. And he was looking at 2 teams. He was looking at Tennessee, and he was looking at New York. And people might go, why Tennessee? Well, he was looking at young quarterbacks in which he could go and build something with their trajectory. And he felt like that Jackson Dart was the guy. So John Harbaugh, it'll be officially announced a little later today, but it is done. He is the new head football coach for the Giants. How about that? They didn't take long, did it? Staying in the Northeast. From the first sip of craft beer at the NRV Super Bowl to the double tequila margarita at Palm Coast Lanes, BDST is live. So it looks like we're going to try to do our meetup next Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong, Morris, at the NRV Super Bowl. Next Friday. We'll shore that up with times and things like that. So the show meetup will be in the afternoon, early evening next Friday at the Super Bowl. Yeah, every game's coming down the last possession. Tech hasn't figured that out. They've won a lot of close games, overtime games, but that's too tough, gut-wrenching losses. Just get the ball in bounds and you win the game. And then the kid hits a half-court shot. And I watched it when I got landed last night back at the Dedman Center. I wanted to see the shot, and I hit it, and I was like, wow, that's a half-court shot. Good morning, Thunderman. How are you? Coming at you as a pilgrim in an unholy land in Charlottesville this morning. Sorry, Thunder. Now, these were legitimate walk-ons, TLB. These were guys who, I don't want to be mean, but you can tell walk-ons. Does that make sense? You can tell walk-ons. Yeah, Alex Square, he got the award, the Valor Award for saving the student in New River. Yeah, that was last night too. He went up and accepted the award. I think the kid was there too, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to try to do it from 6 to 9 next Friday. That's it. So we'll talk more about it, but just come on, plan to come out. Peeps, be nice to meet a few of you. I don't know how many people can come on a Friday. You get off work, swing by, meet Morris. I'll have some shirts there. People want them. What's up, Knicks fan? Screw Vegas. Now they've switched it and they have the Bills as an underdog. Well, they switched it because I think everybody was changing their money. So Morris is going to have 2 drink tickets and appetizers. Then own your own. Oh, they're going to have BDST on the TVs. Well, they can put up the show from that morning or something. God, we don't want to see Rick Watson on big TVs, do we? I think we do. No, we do not. So, yeah, that was crazy. A lot of stuff went on yesterday, man. And, I'm there at Gardner Webb, and finally things slowly started to click back into the phone. So about halftime, I'm able to actually get on X, and I see that as we expected and as people in chat were talking about, Ethan Grunkemeyer officially committed. I don't know if he'll be the last one or not. Maybe he will. I don't know. So that happened. Then Virginia Tech officially announced they had dropped the James Madison game. And boy, the banter back and forth between JMU fan and Tech fan has been a lot of fun. So that happened. Just a lot of stuff going on, man. And then we had the games to take care of last night. Radford and Virginia Tech. Didn't go well for Tech at the end. Tech apparently led most of that game. Listening to Zach, I think Tech led basically the entire game. Tough. No, Creed will not make the seed. He would not do well. Yeah, the pins would freak him out. He would either be scared or he'd go attack them. One of the two. Not sure. He'll be there in spirit. Plus, Dad won't be there, so he'll have to protect his property. Here at the house, he'll have to be, the guy to make sure everything goes okay. So yeah, busy day, busy night, and we're back here today on Thursday. So everybody's doing okay. Paul says, it was tied at the half. Okay. Again, I couldn't keep up until the end. But isn't it strange? How does a company and I don't have any sympathy as a customer of theirs, and I'm not trying to sit there and attack them, but it's $1 billion company. How do you lose nationwide outage for that long? There's no backup plan. There's no system that you can. Remember in Christmas Vacation when Clark finally got the Christmas tree going and the power grid went out for just a second and the guy there at the electric company just hit the backup lever, shot the power back up? Shouldn't there be a guy or Verizon who just sits there? Oh, look, the grid's down. We're going to lose our total connectivity. Oh, hang on. Just hit a lever. I mean, you're supposed to be the worldwide leader. I wonder how many people, other carriers of phone and internet, I wonder how many more they got yesterday out of frustration. Think about how many people couldn't do their work, how much we rely on it. So for a moment, I was thinking, when I lost mine, I'm like, all right, well, I've been on this trip to Gardner Webb now for, they've been in the league for what, since 2009, 2008. So I was just trying to navigate in my mind. I said, oh yeah, I just need to take the 85 bypass and head towards Shelby. Flying blind though for the last 2 hours of the trip. Yeah, I know. I should probably look into that, Prometheus. Yeah. He's got the Starlink. Good stuff. I need to look into that, man. I need to talk. Maybe I'll talk to you about that off show, Prometheus. Opal says, well, I'll be getting hacked next week. Yeah, now you don't trust anything. Stuff like that happens. You don't trust anything at all. Like, is this somebody internally? Is this somebody from another country? Is this somebody trying to, you don't know. You just don't know. Morris watched the game. He said it was a total meltdown. Worst that he's seen. 3 chances to get the ball in bounds, blew it, and then couldn't make free. Also, they missed free throws as well. Oh, boy. See, this is why everybody says things are a cliche. And the reason they're a cliche is because usually they're true. You know how many times you watch teams practice late game inbounds? You know how many times you see teams trying free throws late when they after practice, because they've been practicing and they're fatigued? Wow. And then the kid hits, Boopy Miller hits that shot. I mean, it's a wild shot, man. He's running full speed. He takes one step beyond half court. Boom. Unbelievable. What's up, Reggie? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, man. Good morning. TLB says he's a retired Verizon lineman of the landline slide. Don't get me started. Reggie says, remember Michael Vick's path? Curry was the big prize that year. Yeah, he was. Yeah, absolutely. Grunkemeier's path, well documented. Yeah, we'll see. He had 7 starts there. Played very well when he started. We'll see if that transfers over now to Blacksburg. But that happened. I missed all that too because everything was down. But good. It's good because everybody now can relax. We kept trying to ease people's minds about Grunkemeyer, and maybe it was strategic. Maybe he did have to get some things tidied up at the end. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. That's where he's at now. And this large influx of Penn State players, I guess it's done now. We'll see. Doesn't ever feel like the portal's ever done, does it? But now I think you can expect, and we'll talk to Andy about it, official announcements and things like that coming out. I would think now that the dust is settling a little bit. So there you go. And we'll see now. Now it just comes down to how it's going to develop. I think they announced the spring game I saw too. Free admission, back to free admission. I guess once you get that big commitment to athletics for over $220 million, you don't need to try to nickel and dime your clients. And I don't know what the spring game will look like, but Franklin says he wants to sell it out. We don't really have to sell it out because nobody's paying anything, but we'll see what it'll be heavily attended, I'm sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so here's Wayne. Tech had the ball. Oh, it was 8.5 seconds up by 4. Ooh. That's even worse. Yeah, I saw that too, Prometheus. They did. They increased season tickets, and people aren't. It just see, and this is what we've had this discussion for months now, right? How much more are fans going to take? That's what I'm saying. You're paying for this indirectly, one way or the other. I mean, I don't know. It's just up to the individual and what your budget will allow you to do. But everything's going up. Nothing's ever going to go down except for Verizon. Family Fencing Studios. That's where we broadcast from. Thanks to Family Fencing. Get a free quote today, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrb.com. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley, right off of Pepper Ferry Road, sponsor of our chat room. It's always great to see people in there. Hope to see the majority of chat at the Super Bowl meetup. That would be cool. Next Friday. Ready, Set, Fun, ReadySetFun.com. Bob Christ 11 at Gmail if you want to try to raise money for your organization, your sports team, whatever it might be. Along with our meetup being over at the Super Bowl, they've got a brand new view over there. You're going to love it, by the way, if you come out. I hope you do. I hope people come out. They've leveled up the lanes. They have glow-in-the-dark bowling every Friday and Saturday night. Now, that's from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. We'll miss the glow-in-the-dark bowling, but that's okay. Only $20 per person for glow-in-the-dark, and that's including shoes for glow-in-the-dark bowling. Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams, thank you. Residential commercial garage doors. He was keeping me updated yesterday about things when I could no longer use much of my phone. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. My exclusive banking partner for 35 years. The BDST fan question of the week, sponsored by the attorney Ryan Pry in Radford, is dominated by Steph Curry. It's over. We've gotten like 40 responses, and 35 of them are saying that Tech's biggest flop was when they had Seth Greenberg tell Dell and Steph Curry he wasn't good enough, over Tech telling Kurt Signetti's representatives that he was too old. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street, Christiansburg. Charles Lee's awesome. Give him a buzz, 540-553-2971. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. Thanks to Tim, Jonathan Sweet. Somebody who's going to be on next week from their organization. And thanks to James Lawson, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. 540-381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, and to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, 4377 Lee Highway. Thanks to all you. Please subscribe, like, and share. So, yeah. Now, the home schedule is not great. And then, I know people are going to try to throw in scheduling, and they're going to try to say all this, and JMU had to be the game that they dropped. But no, it didn't. We're going to find out next week from Matt Rohn everything that's gone on. JMU has tried every way they can to keep that game on the schedule, and Tech had no interest in playing it. Now, everybody's, and I keep seeing people from Tech online defend it. Well, they have the 9-game conference. Yeah, they do. They didn't have to drop JMU. And I know people are going to say, well, the ACC open date, blah, blah, blah. Well, they had till September. David Teal wrote about it. David Teal's a JMU grad. People were questioning coming at Teal. People were coming at David Teal yesterday. I'm like, really? I was looking at that last night. So no matter how you try to spin it, perception is reality. And I knew JMU's fan base were going to fire pretty hard at Tech, and they have. But I was looking at national and other people, and they're doing the same thing. It's not a great look. It's not a great look to kick off the James Franklin era. Let's just put it that way. And it's okay if you're a Tech fan to admit that it's not a good look. You don't have to blindly defend every aspect of everything. That's not how progress is made. If that were the case, you would have just accepted these horrible 7 years that Tech has had. Morris says that's as brutal of a loss, a basketball game. Yeah, Mike Young got beat up pretty good with the comments. That's amazing to me, Wayne. 4 possessions, 8.5 seconds, and you're up by 4 and you still lose that game. Crazy, man. And I wanted to see the shot, and I did. Like I said, I looked at it late, and it was a legitimate. I mean, he's running. Boopy Miller's bringing it up. And I guess Tech couldn't get to him to foul him. But he takes a step beyond half court, man, and just fires it. It's just – I mean, it was a lucky shot. It was. But that's still a collapse that still made it possible. It's a bad loss. It's a bad loss. Wayne says, wait a minute, it was 5 possessions because we got fouled. It was 6 fouls, and they had to foul again. Yeah, that was tough. That was tough. But that's one that, you have to close out. And now Tech has not been able to close out a big lead against Stanford at home. By the way, Stanford rallied. I saw that when I got home last night. They came back to beat North Carolina last night. High Point lost in our league, which is big news. Winthrop manhandled High Point last night. So now you have High Point, Winthrop, and Radford all with 1 loss in the Big South. But yeah, not a good result for Mike Young. But in any event, Notre Dame on Saturday. So your thoughts? I mean, it's no surprise to any of us here about Grunkemeyer. We had people that were here to chat, and we kept saying, look, if there's something was up, you would have heard another team had swooped in. So now that it's done, I don't know. People are asking now, is that the last player? I can't say it'll be the last recruit. My guess is it might be out of the portal. I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to predict these things as it is. Yes, now I've got Giants fans hitting me up. Yes, that's big news for your Giants. Yes. In case you missed it, John Harbaugh is now the new head football coach of the New York Football Giants. That's big. That's big. He wanted to be with a quarterback that he felt like was going to develop into a championship caliber guy, and he chose Jackson Dart over Cam Ward, apparently, which is what Todd Grantham said on this program. How great was that? Todd said, well, because Todd knows John Harbaugh, knows him well. I don't know. I hope we find out how much guys get paid. I had heard it was around $2.5 million. I don't know if more money had to be added or not. We haven't heard of any haggling. I mean, if you look at the going rate, man, I know it's stupid to talk about. It's just stupid to talk about. But if you're going to have a quality starting quarterback, you're going to pay $2 million. Just the fact that I have to say that statement is reality in college athletics. Good Lord. No, the payout was much bigger for dropping James Madison. The payout for dropping James Madison was $800,000. For VMI, it was going to be $300,000. So they're actually paying $500,000 more in buyout by dropping the James Madison game. I mean, we knew that was going to be the case. The last time Matt Roan was on here, he made reference to it. And we'll get to skinny, man. We'll get exactly can't wait. Next Wednesday, you don't want to miss it. We'll find out what went on behind the scenes, what's truth and what's fiction. The spin has already been out there from Tech Fan. Look, like I said, it's okay. It's okay to admit when something doesn't look good, and this is not a good look for Virginia Tech. I'm sorry. It's just not. You can talk about the conference, and you can talk about all these things, but the perception of it not only from JMU fans and people in the Commonwealth and David Teal, it's national people, because JMU was in the college playoff, and they're having a big transition year. To Wayne's point, yeah, they're vulnerable next year, I would think. You know, not to say that Billy Napier is not going to be a good coach for them, but they lost most of those starters, either left because they were done or they went to UCLA with Bob Chesney, much like the mass exodus of players that followed Kurt Signetti to Indiana. Now, they didn't drop off under Chesney. We'll see what happens with Napier. Yeah. But in any event, there you go. But we'll see. Yeah, JMU will be, I don't know if rebuilding is the right word, restructuring. I mean, you can say the same thing about Tech too, right? Morris says VMI has been in a rebuilding year since Stonewall Jackson. That was a plea. So that'll be your first game in the James Franklin era. Virginia Tech and VMI. Yeehaw. How is it possible to be a New York Football Giants fan? I'm perplexed, Southwest Virginia says. Well, there's going to be a lot of them come out now. They're excited about Harbaugh. And we'll see how that transition goes. He's going to a new conference. He's, 63? He's not old, but he's probably in his last stop. He got to choose basically where he wanted to go, too. That's the luxury of Harbaugh. He got to go wherever he wanted to. He decided to go to a vision with the Eagles and the Cowboys that were really good. Well, Cowboys, not so much, but potentially they could be good. Yeah, I don't think everybody keeps attaching Freeman to NFL jobs. I don't think he's interested. And I'm not sure he would be good in the NFL. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, Joseph. I think you're okay. I think he's a Notre Dame guy. I really do. Yeah, I think a lot of season ticket holders are going to feel the same way, Prometheus. Tech would get rid of all these mid-major games. I mean, if you're going to charge that much money, it's hard to feed Tech, those type of opponents. But what people on the outside are saying, hey, so Tech had 3 in-state games against non-power schools, and the one they chose was the one that happened to be in the playoff. Now, see, even if you look at the schedule and you might say, well, they couldn't do this and that. That's the perception. And Tech knew, I think, internally it was going to be a major PR hit, and it has been. David Teal writes about it. I've never seen people come at Teal. Tech fan came at David Teal. I've never seen someone actively come at David Teal in comments, but here's Tech fan. Like I said, you don't have to blindly just always accept what is going on. True fanship is not blindly accepting everything that goes on. If you just kind of spin everything into the greatest decision ever, it's more like you're just brainwashed. Or you're giving that organization or team a Jesus complex. It's okay. It is perfectly okay. The 3-hour tour. Yeah, that's low-key one of the best. That's one of the best SNL skits. And I know where you got that from, TLB. I do. You got that from when Jerry Seinfeld. Hosted, and they did the game show. They had stand-up comedians. It was like Stand Up and Win, right? And they gave punchlines, and they had the 3 comedians, and they had to deliver the punchline, the correct punchline. And the whole time that they're Jerry's the host, and he's doing it. He's making fun of himself in his own voice. When he's it's a really good skit. A 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. I think that's what you're referencing. That was good. That was good. Where are we here? Wayne says the money you have to put down before the tickets has become too much for him. Yeah, they're gonna price themselves out of a lot of real Tech fans and supporters. Says he will buy $100 off StubHub and get better seats and save $2,500 per season. Meetha says he's seen Tech fan come at Teal for defending Witt. I haven't seen that. I saw it last night though, because David's saying, look, they had plenty of time to get this done. ACC schedule came out in September. Boy, it was just, geez Louise. Yep, JMU, the first team in Virginia to ever make the playoff. That'll stand forever. That is a factorial record of history. Doesn't matter what happens next with Tech or UVA or anybody else. JMU will always have that distinction. That is correct. They will be a trivia question for a long time. Wow. So Morris just renewed 6 tickets and parking pass for $3,700. Really? So almost $4,000. Yeah, the Sean Connery Jeopardy episodes are really good. Oh, y'all help me out. Who's the comedian that did who's the guy that did the Sean Connery impersonation? Darrell Hammond. And that and geez, I'm having trouble with names with getting Insulate. But the Norm Macdonald's Burt Reynolds. When you put those two together, man, it was great. And that made all of those celebrity Jeopardies. And low-key, Will Ferrell, when he was still actually funny, before he started to be all about his political choices, was a really good Alex Trebek as well. A really good Alex Trebek. Yeah, and that's what fans have to decide, Tebow. You're right, and that's what everybody knows. Everybody who runs all this stuff knows, and this is what we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. The fans always come back. This is why the professional sports leagues do what they do, and this is why athletic departments keep raising the cost of everything, because they know that Tech fan will keep paying, especially if James Franklin wins whatever amount of games that Tech fan expects him to win. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's like an addiction that you can't get rid of. It's like an addiction you can't get rid of. And they know that. And this is what we've talked about. This is where it comes up. It just comes down to every individual fan and the choice that they make. And there's no wrong answer. There's no right answer. It's up to you. Nobody can say, well, you shouldn't do that or you should do this. No, it's just whatever you decide that you want to do. Right? But it is the reason that all these types of decisions continue to be made. Because if you don't want your tickets, there'll be some other fans that have been on the waiting list that will come in and do it, right? So it is what it is. Now, Tech fan is one of the best fan bases, I think, in all college football. I said that to people who aren't ACC fans, and they say, oh, you're just being a homer. You're just from that area. Well, yeah, I am from the area. But I think they are. You've put up with a lot. And all I know is you sold out at an 11 o'clock game against Wofford. You know, if we have enough people show up at our meetup next Friday, there might be 11 of us. We could have probably suited up and hung in there with Wofford. And that was an 11 o'clock game, a game that nobody wanted to see, and Tech fans still sold it out. Amazing. Yeah, I found this backstage over our heads. It's funny. It's funny. No, it's not. No, it's funny because it's a bigger hat. Yeah. Norm Macdonald he's brilliant. He was brilliant anyway. God rest his soul. But you can go on YouTube and just find all of the celebrity Jeopardies. Some of them aren't great, but man, it's good stuff. It's such good stuff. And when Connor would mispronounce the categories, a lot of them I can't say here on the show. Daryl Hammond, that was his name. Daryl Hammond was low-key really good at everything he did on that show. He really was. Tebow says, bingo, Tech knows exactly what you just said. If someone doesn't want their tickets, they know. So, yeah, exactly. You think they're going to go unclaimed? No, they're not. And it's not just Tech. Now, we're not trying to pick on what they're doing. It's happening all the way across the country. And this is validated more in their minds now because of all the money that has to be paid out for all these extra things, like your roster. It's crazy, man. And that's why it's unsustainable in the long run. At some point, fans are going to say, I don't have any more money. I can't do this anymore. Because throughout history, when the customer has decided to stop supporting something, that's when that business usually goes down. Whether it's a restaurant chain or whatever it might be. Yeah, and the way Connery went after Trebek's mother, went after Trebek talking about his mother. Why? Why was there such an animosity between Sean Connery and Alex Trebek? Why? Why did he immediately hate him? Whew. Prometheus says the cost of all these TV subscriptions is almost as much as tickets. Yeah, remember when we were lied to that streaming was going to be the next great thing and it was going to simplify our viewing experience and we could all just find everything on one or two things. And then now I see people posting on one of those late NFL weekends where there's like 6 or 7 different things you have to watch the games. It's mind-blowing. Moore says they've limited seat number constraints. So, yes, tickets will be sold. Yeah, it's true. They're not worried at all about ticket sales. They know they're going to sell out every home game, even if the opener is VMI, because it's the first game for James Franklin. Hit us up on the Professional Door text line. Wayne said he went to the movie theater in Christiansburg. You mean the old theater? The drive-in? What is that over here in Christiansburg? Is that Dude's Drive-In? Southwest Virginia to Texas says, I hate that I pay for Amazon Prime, but every time I search for a movie, they want me to rent and buy. I know. That's the thing about it. You subscribe, and that's the one that I really don't understand. Because I do the same thing. I pay for Prime. You get the football games. Uh-oh, I'm getting ready to sneeze. Sorry. My apologies. You pay the subscription. And if you're looking for a movie, either they don't have it, or if they do have access to it, you have to pay $3 or $4 extra. Rent it for $3.99, but I'm already paying. Why do I have to rent the movie? No explanation. They just stick that in there, and I guess enough people are doing it. Starlight Drive-In. Okay, thank you, Brian. Paul says the one that, hang on, let me go back up here. As usual, the McClellan Chiropractic chat room is popping. The one that pisses me off is Peacock. That was free. Then all of a sudden, bam, they're charging you. I don't have Peacock. I don't have that one. Tebow says, now, if you continue to pay that much money to go watch the terrible football we've seen the last several years, I would refer you to a psychiatrist. Well, there is that, Tebow. Oh, the new one at the Regal Mall. Yeah, that's a nice – I like that one too over in Christiansburg when I go to the movie. I don't know if there's ever going to be a movie that I'm going to care about going to see in the theater, though. Thank you, Opal. I'm sorry. I hate I sneezed. That time of year. Dudes is the burger joint. Thank you. Okay. So Starlight Drive-In. I'm sorry. It's late night, early morning. Dudes is the burger joint. Okay. Perfect. Really? See, that TLB is great. He says in the first season opening sequence of Gilligan's Island, the flag is visible at half staff on the boat, right? JFK had just been assassinated. The cast was too upset to act, so the crew filmed the marina sequence. Yeah, the whole nation grieved. Didn't matter the politics. The fact is the president of the United States had been assassinated, and everybody mourned. Today, if that happened, and you know it's true, half the country would be celebrating. They would throw parties. They would make asinine posts on social media, just like they did when Charlie Kirk got murdered. Hey, by the way, kudos to UCLA. They finally fired the head of their diversity department who made all these posts celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, which was the reason I dropped my fanship of UCLA, because they were supporting that. It took them this long to finally fire them. Apparently, they just couldn't stop. They just kept putting stuff out. Progress, baby. If you're at the point of your existence to where you want people to be murdered because you disagree with them, you're the problem. And I don't give a damn what side. This is why I can't stand politics. Right? You're the problem. It's just insane. This whole country was built on disagreeing and working through disagreements, right? Talking about things, solving problems, solutions, treating people as they treat you. It shouldn't matter what you look like, what background you come from. But nah, we're going to celebrate because we didn't agree with them politically. We don't like them because they disagree with us. So we immediately don't like them. Anyone who disagrees with me, I immediately don't like them. When did that happen? Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent now. Yeah, TLB's great, Opal. He always has great stuff like that. Tebow says DJ's in Floyd is the best driver. Oh, so there's still one? Really? Some nice eye candy. Hey. All right, Tebow. I may have to do that. Yeah, it happened. You're right, Ryan. Ryan Pry, the attorney, sponsor of our fan question of the week. Social media. Yeah. That's why I can't stand anybody in Hollywood. These actors, these people that get paid millions to pretend to be people they aren't, adult pretenders, and they all spout off constantly their politics, and they can't help themselves. And the way movies are made now and all the messaging, instead of just entertaining. Yeah, social media, you don't care. You can't dislike them enough. Like, I don't even want to watch their movies when they post this crap. How do you sit there and try to fall into a role they're doing when you know they hate half the country? It's just Wayne says Gilligan's Island, Batman, Andy Griffith, Bewitched. Oh, Bewitched. I'll tell you what, Elizabeth Montgomery. Nothing wrong with that. Hogan's Heroes, great show. I Dream of Jeannie, Beverly Hillbillies, The Munsters, The Addams Family. Should we debate Munsters versus Addams Family again? And I know there used to be, wouldn't it be great to have a channel or a site where all those things, you had the rights to all those and you could just air those shows? You know how much money you'd make? Because TV is not good anymore. Morris says our country is polarized and fighting each other. Scary, scary time. Yeah. It's just accepted, and it's promoted by the access media. The media wants this country at odds. The media wants people going after one another. They don't want anybody to agree. They don't want anybody to try to solve their differences. No. We're going to label people we disagree with. We're going to put people in a box because we disagree with them. And if you're not part of that box, then you're a horrible person. Yeah, people are brainwashed more than anything else. They're just brainwashed. They believe anything that they're told if it falls in line with what they believe politically, instead of opening their eyes and reading and taking the time to learn things. Munsters gets the nod, Thunder says. Yeah, Herman was great. The baseball episode where I think he's at Dodgers spring training and he crushes the ball and you see Herman Munster running the bases. That's great, man. Great stuff. Pluto TV, David Avery says, is the bomb. So it's the closest one, I guess, to those shows that we're talking about it. Is that what we're doing? Okay. Okay. Oh, they do. They have a classic TV section. Okay, that's good to know. All right. Well, this is good. I'm glad. And we're always glad when that gentleman joins us. What's up, Andy Bitter? Good morning.
Not much. How are you?
All your stuff working? I'm up and running this morning.
Yeah, I'm just I feel like we'll talk transfers, so I got to get this list of transfers up here. So I haven't got them all memorized yet. It's a big deal.
That's fun. Yeah, we are. Just let me know when you're ready.
I'm all good.
Well, it's good to have you. I didn't get a chance to reach out to Andy because I didn't have any service. I didn't know about this whole Verizon thing until I got to Gardner Webb, and I was like, my phone is dead. And they say, oh, yeah, there's a national outage or something. I don't know if you're a Verizon guy. But
I think I am. I don't know. I didn't notice any problems yesterday.
Really? So you were okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was going on. But apparently it was a big deal. And then my phone came back on about halftime of my game last night.
Oh, perfect time to come back on.
Exactly. All right. Well, and perfect time for Tech to finally get the official announcement of Ethan Grunkemeyer, because I kept getting a lot of concerned folks. I guess reasons getting things finalized, whatever it was. Maybe he'll be the last member, maybe not. But it looks like everything's complete now, right? The roster is, the portal took care of a lot of holes. At least you hope.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one that everybody was waiting for.
Yeah.
Was the quarterback. And, you get Bryce Baker earlier, and you go, well, that's kind of weird. Does that mean that the other guy is also going to sign? And, kudos to them for getting two quarterbacks like this. But I think it's pretty clear who the QB1 is going to be next year. The guy who started the last 7 games here for Penn State. Looked pretty good down the stretch. I think it was 6 touchdowns, no picks in the last 4 games. Looked very good in the bowl game, and a situation that was not exactly conducive to offense. That was pretty cold. I don't think you need to tell Hokies fans that the Pinstripe Bowl can be cold and very unforgiving when it comes to throwing the football when you're out there in Yankee Stadium. So good way to finish. Familiarity with the staff for Grunkemeyer, and you look at his completion percentage. I think it was like 69%. Tech hasn't really had a guy that has completed passes at that kind of clip. So, we'll see if that continues with the offense that they bring here. But this could be sort of a totally different kind of quarterback than what they've had in the past, where he's not a dual threat guy. He's not going to run it, 15 times a game or something like that. If you're counting on him to do that, then you're going to be disappointed. But he does throw the ball around. He does throw it around pretty accurately.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm trying to think who's the last pure guy that's been more of a traditional, quote, quarterback for Tech. Who would that be? Let me think. Who would that be?
It depends on how you think of, Grant Wells. I guess he threw
Grant Wells.
But I mean, he wasn't like this accurate.
No, he was not.
I guess Ryan Willis threw it a lot. He ran too. He was sort of dual threat. He was more dual threat than people gave him credit for. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Going back and thinking of just like pure guys that stick in the pocket and pass. Drunkemeyer?
Duncan yeah.
Drunken Miller? I'm confusing Drunkemeyer and Grunkemeyer. Drunken Miller.
Yeah.
Drunken Miller.
Could be.
Because after that, you had the run of all the dual threat guys.
Yeah.
Al Clark, Vick. I mean, Al Clark was, I guess, maybe not as dual threatish as guys like Vick and Tyrod and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's tough to go back and think.
Well, what are your thoughts now when you sit there, you're looking at the transfers and the guys, and we don't know how they're going to pan out. We don't know how long they might stay and how it's going to work, but Penn State connection was big. What do you like most, I guess, when you look at the whole thing, when you try to look at the roster? I know we don't know much about these guys yet, but
I think you look at it and you look at how much eligibility a lot of these guys have left. And there's very few guys that are just 1 year. It's everybody that's 3 years, 4 years, I think. Just a handful of guys are the 1 and 2 year varieties. And, I think that kind of speaks to Franklin's portal approach is that, hey, you're going to have guys that are going to be here multiple years. They're going to develop. It's not going to be a 1 year fix. So, you do that in the portal, you get a bunch of 1 year guys, then you're back in the portal the next year and you're doing it all over again. Not to say that they won't be, because there's nothing locking these guys in. They could up and leave if they wanted to next year as well. And they might be doing it all over again. I think you've got some guys that potentially could develop over a couple of years. And there's certainly a lot of talent. I think you look at what these guys' star ratings were as high schoolers coming out. And if you would have landed these guys as high schoolers, you would have been doing, cartwheels about this whole thing. Well, you get them a year later, and maybe the bloom is off the rose a little bit with these recruits after 1 year. And everybody goes, oh, a 4-star guy that didn't play as a freshman.
Right.
How good can he be? It's like, well, pretty good. Those guys don't typically play as freshmen like that. So, I think it was a significant upgrade in talent across the board. And now we'll see once they get in. I mean, you have to have the base of talent there, but then you have to develop as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll be the task of this brand new coaching staff. It all has to come together. We'll see how long it comes together. They announced the spring game coming up free again, April 18th. Is that right? Is that what I saw?
Yep, that's right. And I think free is the operative word. And you look at the quotes from Franklin in the thing, and he's talking about, well, we want 65,000 people there. It's like, well, I don't know if you've been here in Blacksburg in April. It's the weather is not always guaranteed to be good.
No.
And, I think spring games are kind of like minor league baseball. You have to have good weather to get a really good attendance for something. I don't think they'll come anywhere close to filling the place for the spring game. If you can get 30,000, I think that'd be a great number.
Yeah.
But that is very dependent on the weather. And if it snows, it's just a roulette wheel. Bad, you hit 00 on that one, and it's going to be not a great crowd, or if it rains or something like that. But if it's nice out, I think plenty of people are going to show up for this thing, because I think there's a great deal of enthusiasm around the program. And if you make it free and you don't put this impediment for people to get in and charge, and who knows what the parking situation will be. I didn't see anything about that.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I think it was smart to make this free and pack the place in. That's always been one of my complaints about whenever they've charged for the spring game in the past. Like, why are you trying to suppress? And maybe that was their goal, was to suppress attendance at that thing, because they don't know, we got this secret. We don't want anybody to see what we're doing out here.
Right.
I always thought it was a great chance to showcase your program and introduce new fans to the program that might not otherwise be able to go to games or afford games, or kids. And that's, what was the, cigarette companies back in the day? Get them young. That's sort of the same strategy here, right?
Sure.
Get these fans when they're young and get them hooked to the sport. I think this is a great way to do it.
That's true. Like candy cigarettes. But, let's just start getting
We used to have those back in the day, and I never thought anything about it. Like,
I didn't either.
That's really not great. Like,
No, it's not.
Whoever was the marketing genius that came up with that, it's like, well, maybe you got people hooked there.
They did well, yeah. And you would do it just like you'd watch adults do. You'd do the pack, and
right. That was so bad. I can't believe that wasn't outlawed earlier.
Candy cigarettes. All right, so I also didn't see it until I got there. I saw David Teal's piece. Tech has officially dropped James Madison, and boy, let the battles of fan bases begin. Boy, people coming at Teal too a little bit from the Tech side. Your thoughts on that? And look, I know people are going to talk about the ACC schedule shuffling, and you and I know that it's not just as simple as they looked at JMU and said, "Hey, we're going to get rid of that one." But it's a bad aesthetic, nonetheless, for many people.
I mean, the JMU people that are crowing about it, like, what can you respond with if you're Virginia Tech? Like, yes, the ACC went to 9 games. I don't think it necessarily meant they had to drop this week. I don't think the ACC came to them and said, this is the 1 week that you have to make available, because they don't have any of the other games yet. They don't have the schedule. Right. So, and they could, like, VMI doesn't play a game that weekend either. So if they really wanted to, they could have kept this game. They could have dropped the VMI game. They could have played this in the opener. I just think they didn't want to. Didn't want to open the season with a really, a high profile game like that, and tiptoeing in with VMI. Like, listen, I understand. Team went 3-9 last year. You're not going to turn down wins. VMI is a win. That is as easy of a game as you're going to get.
Yes.
It's a filler game. That's my problem with it, and I don't like filler games on the schedule. I don't like games that are scheduled for no reason other than just to get the players out there, get a win, hopefully have nobody injured, and move on to the next week. I feel like that's a relic from a bygone era.
100%.
When you're not making these, you're now making these schedules to get TV viewership, because money is tied to that TV viewership. And I think VMI is a game that will be relegated to streaming or something like that, unless they look at, it's James Franklin's first game, they got to televise that. I don't know if they'll look at it like that. I think you'll get ACC Network Extra or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a good ratings game. JMU coming off a playoff game, I think that it could actually get some eyeballs.
Agreed.
Somewhere. So a little disappointed that, all of a sudden they have this nothing game to start the season. And it's like, sure, there'll be excitement about the start of the Franklin era, but it's not a real test. It's not interesting to me. And if you open the season with another ACC team, which they've done in the past, I think that would be a real ratings bonanza, because I think a lot of people would tune into that.
Agreed.
Thing. So disappointing from that sense, but I guess understandable too, because if you want to guarantee that you get the 6 wins next year, and I know Tech fans are all excited about the roster and all the players they got and stuff like that. This is a 3-9 team last year. You're not going to turn down easy wins like that early in the season.
Yeah, you're right. And that's how they're probably coming at it. But, man, I didn't expect to see that much backlash. They've gotten a lot nationally, too. It's not just –
when you wanted to say it looks like they're ducking JMU.
It does.
And it comes on the heels after they canceled the ODU series, after ODU beat them. It's like, what do you think it looks like at the end of the day? The problem is a lot of these games should have never been scheduled. VMI should have never been scheduled.
Never.
And all these people are going to be like, oh, it's the military classic of the South and all this stuff and the history. This is a game for the 70s and 80s, back when those were actually close contests and these programs were somewhat comparable. Now Virginia Tech stole VMI's head coach to be like, an advisor
right,
on the staff. Like, there's no comparing these two programs anymore. So going out there and playing this game, anybody's gonna be like, well, I think it's really defending the history and tradition of this rivalry. Come on now, what are we doing with this thing? Let's play an actual football game out there.
That's right. I agree 100%. All right, let's get into that. I've been excited to talk to you about the Miami, Indiana game. Here we are, similar type of team, especially up front. Phil Amation was on the show. He was talking about that. He really likes the matchup in the trenches. What do you think, man? Can Miami finish this journey of theirs?
Maybe. I think Indiana is just playing so well lately. I said last week, I think all these people waiting for Indiana to turn into a pumpkin here at the end of the season, like this was some sort of fluke that they're 15-0 and have the Heisman Trophy winner and breeze through the toughest conference, the Big Ten. Certainly not the SEC. Breeze through the toughest conference. They're going to go up against Ohio State and they'll lose that game. So that's the first real team they've played. No, they beat Ohio State. They out physicaled them in that game. Oh, they're going to play Alabama and face real athletes and real program. Alabama was a grease mark on the floor at the end of that game.
That's all that's left.
Oregon will get them in the rematch. Oregon's ticked off in this game. They do it. They're down 7-0 before the national anthem is over on a pick six. These games have not even been close. The last two, the Ohio State one was, but I don't know. Indiana's just playing at a level and a togetherness, and just there's no holes on this team.
No.
That I think they're going to continue this thing and win by double digits in this title game. And Miami has won a couple games here, and they've made some plays, but they just haven't been as flawless, I feel like, as Indiana has. And maybe that won't continue. You don't play like that every single week, and this is another week to get to a new game. You have to prepare for it. But I don't know. I like Cignetti. I like Indiana to finish this unbelievably historic turnaround and run to win the championship.
Yeah, it's amazing. Every time I think about it, I still – and I believe in them. You just watch them play. They're so fundamentally sound. They tackle so well for a college team too, little things like that. But I still have to go, wow, this is the most amazing thing we've ever seen. As sport people who cover sports, if you're a fan of the sport, this has never happened, especially in a place like Indiana, a program well, being a Big Ten guy, right? It's crazy. But it's real. It is.
It's not just it's a turnaround. They were the losingest program for 100+ years.
Ever.
I covered one game there. It was Wisconsin played there in like 2000, something like that, 99, 2000, somewhere around there. Antoine Randall was the quarterback for Indiana. So they had like something going with him a little bit. They were still terrible. And the stadium, which is huge and looks like Lane Stadium, a similar build to Lane Stadium, was practically empty. It's just silver empty benches everywhere in this. And that was not too dissimilar to what this was 2 years ago. We're talking about like, they were really bad in the 90s and then, they turned it around. No, they were this bad 2 years ago before Cignetti got there.
Right,
and he turned this whole thing around and made people believe about this. It was incredible. There were a year or two in there where they were pretty competitive. I think Michael Penix was there. I think the COVID year they were actually pretty good. But historically, one of the worst programs in college football history. And here they are, a game away from winning the national championship. I think that more than anything should be encouraging for fans around the country that go, why not us? If you invest in the right places, if you scout in the right places, if you use the transfer portal the correct way, you could do this too. There's nothing stopping you from doing this. I mean, Indiana hired a 60-something-year coach, for a 60-year-old coach from JMU that had never coached at the FBS level. And he's just really good at this portal thing and has really good assistant coaches. All excuses are out the window for everybody else.
That's a great point.
Around the country. Yep. All these programs that have underinvested, all these coaches who are not up to snuff with the transfer portal or evaluation or development of players. This proves that if you have the right combination of those things, you can do anything as a program. You're not hindered by money. I think Indiana is funded okay, but I don't think they're funded like Texas. And yet they would go out there, and I think they would whoop up on Texas if they played today. So I'm just astounded and amazed by this run by Indiana, and I feel like it's still not quite sunk in. To people around the country, how great of a turnaround this is.
You're right. And then they get whatever it was. I don't know what the number ended up being. Then Cuban's donation, right? He gave like $30 million, I think I saw, whatever it was.
Yeah, Cuban comes in now.
Now, yeah.
They've already been successful. And Cuban's like, let me be part of this winner. Real Shark Tank. Let me invest in this upstart that's already making millions of dollars here. It's real Shark Tank mentality.
Yeah. Well, it's wild. It is wild, but it'll be on, and then Monday night we'll see what the ratings look like. I know that the ratings were down Thursday night for the first semifinal. I didn't see it for Friday. I guess Thursday night has a lot to do with that, but that was curious because the ratings had been reported as being up television-wise leading up to the semifinals, and then that game was way down. I saw. So
it probably has to do with playing the game on a Thursday and a Friday. Just do it on Saturday.
Exactly.
Just, reclaim the ground from the NFL and be like, you know what? We're both doing it, and we'll both take a ratings hit. You can't keep impeding on this college football. First of all, they need to play these games more regularly. They need to just play them on Saturdays once a week once the season is done. And this extra long layoff between games. I think it's ridiculous. They sit here and they go, oh, we can't be playing the season in the middle of January. It's like, well, you set it up that way so you can get the semifinals around New Year's Eve. You don't need to do that. Just play the championship around then and then go to the transfer portal and then go to the next semester. I think there's a solution to this calendar problem that a lot of people are just, skipping over.
Real quick, AB, before we let you go, Prometheus asking, is Andy like the defensive Hall better or the offensive Hall better? Just on first glance of what Franklin brought in out of the portal.
I think short-term guys, probably offense. I mean, you get a starting quarterback. This Keyshawn Brown, I think, is interesting at receiver. Bill Davis, I think, can factor into the running game. You got some instant guys that could start on the offensive line, which I think you need as well. And the tight ends are intriguing as well. I mean, a 5-star guy at tight end. Long-term and depth-wise, probably the defense. I feel like how many edge rushers did they get in this class? It felt like a lot. 5 or whatever it was. Cornerback help. And then there's some instant guys there, but I feel like there were maybe more long-term guys on the defense that they can develop. So I think that's how I would answer. More instantly, I would say on the offense, perhaps more long-term on the defense.
Okay, there you go. There you go, Prometheus. Good answer from AB. By the way, random things, and I know things you like to sometimes talk about things like that. So I'm coming back from Boiling Springs. I get into Virginia, and they're at that rest area. You've probably hit it many times. The Welcome to Virginia. I'm walking in, and here comes Will Stewart walking out of the rest area. He was coming back. I don't know where he was. He told me, but I didn't really hear. I was just like, wow. I saw one person at the rest stop. It was Will Stewart last night.
It's the place to be in Virginia. It's a popular rest area, I guess. That's like the last chance there is like, I'm trudging up this mountain. There's probably fog all over the place. Like, this is my one last chance to stop for a second and clear my head before going on this trudge up by Fancy Gap.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. Yeah, no question. Well, thanks as always, brother. We appreciate it. Enjoy the games this weekend. Who you got winning the Super Bowl, by the way? You're an NFL guy. Who you like?
I don't know, because all the teams that you would pick in the past are gone, and I don't feel super confident in the 1 seeds, Broncos and Seahawks. I'd have to look at it more carefully. I haven't really been betting too much on the NFL this year because I haven't been too tuned into the whole thing. So I don't know if I really have a strong opinion about the NFL. I don't feel confident in the Bears. Since they don't start playing until deep into the second half of all these games.
Yeah.
Do you trust the Patriots yet? I feel like I don't quite. I mean, if ever there was a year for the Bills to do it, and Josh Allen to get over that hump. I mean, he's not facing all these other quarterbacks, but I don't know if the Bills are good enough in other areas to get that done. Maybe the winner of this Niners-Seahawks game. Put it in those terms. I guess the Niners have a bunch of injuries as well, so that's tough to pick them there too. I think it's fascinating. It'll be a really fun playoffs because you don't have the typical teams that you've had in the past, and thankfully the Chiefs aren't in it. So it's a little bit get the Chiefs and Eagles out of this thing. The Ravens aren't in this. I think some new blood here in this whole thing that could be very interesting.
Agreed. And then the Giants announced John Harbaugh, their new head coach. That'll be interesting, that transition. So we'll see what happens there.
It's always interesting to me, the NFL coaches, where they fire these coaches and then they instantly become the top candidates everywhere else in the league.
Everywhere
the
else.
Browns fire Stefanski and they're like, he's the top candidate everywhere. It's like, perhaps Stefanski wasn't the issue, Cleveland Browns.
Right.
I mean, you've got 3 of these guys. You have Stefanski, Harbaugh, and Tomlin, that any other team in the league would be happy to hire these guys, which just kind of shows you the state of NFL coaching, that sometimes you don't have these just like offensive coordinators ready to go on this thing. So I find it fascinating how they sort of recycle NFL coaches like that, and sometimes they're like, we've just been together too long and we have to separate. And then they do it, and other program or other franchises are like, yeah, we'll take that guy. He's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want him. Come on. All right, brother. Listen, have a great weekend. Stay safe and enjoy the games. You're going to have them all weekend, NFL and then college on Monday. So we'll see how it turns out.
All right, will do. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Take care. There you go. Andy Bitter joining us on the program. Great stuff from Andy. Great. He answered all your questions too. And he agrees. It's not a good look. They did not have, by the way, all the people that want to say they had to drop JMU, that's not true. I mean, I just take the L and understand that was a bad move. And we know why they dropped it. But yeah, that happened last night. I'm walking into that rest area for me. Prometheus, you met your wife. Oh, your sister met her husband. Really? So your sister met her husband at the rest stop? That's so cool. So yeah, I'm coming up the mountain. I wasn't going to stop, and I said, I need to stretch, man. Because I had been gone. Sometimes you get in that mode where you're just kind of like, you feel like you're driving and you just got that mentality. You got the steering wheel, you're driving. I'm not stopping. But I said, I'm going to hit that rest area. I kind of need to. And I'm walking in, and here comes Will Stewart. And they were like, are you kidding me? What are you doing? I said, what are you doing here? And the first thing he says was, he goes, I just watched, did you see the end of this Tech game talking about the basketball game? And I was like, what? They were way ahead. No, I didn't. My phone hasn't been working. You've got to see this shot. And he showed me the half-court shot. But there was Will. He told me where he was coming from, but we had a little laugh about it. We sent a picture to Jen. That was great. Happily married for 15 years with 4 kids. So how did that happen? So now you got me curious now, Prometheus. How in the world? Was that just like just a chance where she just walked in and they just started talking? That's cool. Good. You can meet your significant other in any way, shape, or form. That's an awesome story, man. That's just so cool. We want to thank Family Fencing. Great logo there by Jason Green, sponsor of our studio. They give you free quotes all the time. Do not miss out on your opportunity to have those folks. Look, we're in mid-January already, so you're going to get to February, and you're going to go, I need to get some stuff done. Give Family Fencing a call, 540-200-8294. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. They've been my bank for 35 years personally. Had an issue last week. I work down at Radford, so I usually use the Radford branch, and they are outstanding. Always take care of my issues. Pulaski County Sports Entertainment is the presenting sponsor of this program. Jonathan Sweet is the most aggressively upbeat, I'm going to get crap done guy that I've known in a long time. And Pulaski County is the beneficiary. So will be surrounding areas. They're the best. Professional Door Incorporated, great logo, great people, great owner, Travis Williams, up in Dublin, right across from Newberry Community College, sponsor of our text line. His work staff is going well. His dad started that business 38 years ago, man. It's awesome. Just awesome. Ready, Set, Fund with Bob Christ. ReadySetFund.com if your organization needs any type of money to raise. They raised $4,000 in 5 days for the softball program at Floyd County High School. So we're doing our meetup next Friday at one of our sponsors, the NRB Super Bowl. We're going to be there from 6 to 9. So come hang out. And we're looking forward to that. Thanks to those folks. They've been around for 25 years. Give them a call, 382-5525. Go do the glow-in-the-dark bowling every Friday and Saturday from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. I would like to do glow-in-the-dark bowling. Thanks, Travis. Sending me a logo. Sending me a that's correct. And thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply for all their support. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, the best in the business. I've had 3 people tell me thanks for suggesting Little River Heating and Air. I've used them and they've been outstanding. The attorney Ryan Pry. Our BDST fan question of the week. Dominated by Steph Curry. It's over. The competition's over. You chose Steph Curry as being the worst horrible decision Tech has made. Over Kurt Signetti being told he's too old. And thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. If you want T-shirts, let me know. I'll bring them over next Friday to the meetup. And I don't have the big sizes yet either. I do not. So we're going to meet, Friday? Is that what we're meeting? So Friday, 6 to 9. I have a game Saturday, so I won't be able to do anything on Saturday. So that's what we're doing. So it was random. They just started talking. Well, that's awesome. Tell your sister congratulations. That's really cool, man. Really, really cool. As Hokey Bob always says, bring your drinking shoes. I'm Ubering from the hotel. Well, I won't be able to because, I got to be up early the next day. But that's next Friday at the Super Bowl. Come see us. So which mug are you talking about? Okay. I see. Hang on. So Wayne asked me about my mug. I don't drink coffee, but I've had this for a long time. This is the 1963. Wayne, you're going to love this, by the way. Because I know how much affinity you have for my beloved Denver Broncos. This is the 1963 Denver Broncos old nag football. That's my favorite logo. And I actually found that in Denver when I went to one of the games at the old Mile High Stadium many years ago. Me and my brother went out there, and I've had that a long time. I found that in my mom's house. But that's what that is. I mean, if you want to borrow this, if you ever want to borrow this to drink your beverages out of, go to Panera and get a nice lemon tea, you let me know, man, if you want to drink out of the Broncos mug. I better set that down here. I can see me dropping that. He says, oops, I shouldn't have asked. I thought it might be a Wyoming logo. No, once again, it's the old Broncos logo. See right there, Wayne? Denver Broncos. And then I have my 1969 bobblehead back there and some other things. Wayne says, oh, I'll borrow it all right. Hey, settle down. Dwight Vick joins us coming up at 8 o'clock. You can Uber too, Watson. They do serve Reiner. Yeah, that's not the point. I'm talking about the next day. The days start pretty early on game day. They start pretty darn early on game day. They do. They do. Hit us up on the Professional Door text line. Many of you are chiming in this morning. Sammy goes, I'm a 30-year season ticket holder in Blacksburg. And I am not happy with the JMU ducking, as he says. It's okay, as you said, to set back sometimes and question the decisions that are made by this administration. Thanks, Sammy. Exactly. All right, so Todd Grantham sent me this. It says that some P4 conferences are getting frustrated with the inability to lawfully set rules on player comp eligibility and movement because of the antitrust law. So a solution is being discussed. Conferences having their own rules and conference members only playing games versus each other. And that's what this could come down to, which is going to lead, I think, more into the potential super leagues. So, yeah. Interesting. This whole thing is such a mess. It's just such a mess. I do not have solutions. I just know that the people who get paid a hell of a lot more money than I've ever made fumbled this so many times throughout history. It says we'll just blame all this on wit. I'm on board on that. With that, yeah, it's a bad look. It'll be one that most Tech fans won't talk about. They don't want to talk about it. Will it be forgotten? People are asking, think this will go away? It'll go away. It'll always be brought up though by JMU fans. They wanted to play the game, even though they know they're in a transitional coaching situation. Yeah, it's amazing too, isn't it? The whole focus was on Whit Babcock after the failure of Brent Pry and his future, and now you don't hear about him in any way, shape, or form. It's just kind of gone. It's strange. Very strange. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what goes on over there. I hear lots of things, but anyway. And we'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. Every team that's bringing in portal classes feels like they're going to be the best team in the country. Have they filled their needs? Do these guys come in? I'm one aesthetic that I know a little bit about that I'm really curious about because I talk to college basketball coaches all across the country. And even with a 15-player roster, they say the hardest thing to do in the portal era is and Donnie Lynn talked about this yesterday, the head coach at Mount St. Mary's, about the buy-in and having those guys come from all these different places. More importantly, all these different systems that they've played in. And you have a certain thing that you want to run, and how quickly does all that happen? Well, we'll find out. Fortunately, with Tech and football, the Tech football portal, since so many of them have come from Penn State, they already played a certain way that the head coach likes to play. So that will be an advantage. You know, Grunkemeyer knows the type of offense he's going to be running and all these things. So, yeah. What's up, Coach Elmo? He's up early. He says the NCAA, they wanted this. Yeah, I think they did too. They want to see the leagues. They want to see it be at odds. Power to the player. Wayne says, we will win the spring game. We are ducking no one. But from a football perspective, I am curious. I think that's a different thing to focus on more than all the negativity with the money. And how do players come in, whatever the portal class looks like, 20, 30, 40, whatever it might be. How do they come in and fit the system, the coaching staff, and how do they, how much do they like playing with one another, and they figure out they can be teammates. Virginia did a great job of that last year. Tech's hoping to replicate that. Indiana has done it better than anybody. I write about it in my article in The Patriot this week. Curt Cignetti took a bunch of JMU recruits, a bunch of players, quick film scouting, didn't care about stars, didn't look around, nobody coach. By the way, these coaches don't give a damn about these star ratings. There's not one coach that looks at one of these sites and goes, oh, look, 247 says he's a 4-star. We better go after him. You realize they get their stars based on who's interested in them. Okay. So I want to see how that works. But Cignetti has made it all work. And for me, this is right. He's the X factor of all X factors. He found guys, as he said, I know what a football player is supposed to look like. I love his confidence. I've watched it several times. I love going back and watching the clip at his introductory press conference, man. Why do you think, you're the best choice coming from James Madison to be a coach in the Big Ten? The smirk. I win. Google me. Next question. It's great. Yeah, he's 15-0. Hey, Jen's finally responding. So Jen responded. Will sent that picture of me and him at the rest area. Can kids leave after spring asking for a friend? Morris has already won the press conference, so 1-0 already. That was one of the goals. Trust me, I kept hearing that too. They wanted to win the press conference. And I guess they did that. Had to be a name, and that's what they got. We'll talk to Dwight Vick about all this. I want to measure his excitement. Dwight is real. That's why I call him the quintessential source of Tech football. He is a legacy. He knows the game. He knows what it takes from a player's perspective, not only from his era, but from a younger player's perspective. His son has gone through it from a basketball perspective. He has a very nice balance. I guarantee you he doesn't like the James Madison thing. I haven't even talked to him about it. We're going to ask him about it too. It puts Virginia Tech football athletics department in a certain light. It counters everything you've done with James Franklin and what you're trying to present. When one of the big announcements you make after that is, oh, by the way, we're dropping the game against the team that just made the college playoff. TLB says in winter from the Radford side of the River Bridge, you can still see cannon craters in the far side bank and piers in the river from the bridge burned by the Union Army. That's pretty cool. The Battle of Cloyd's Mountain. I used to cross over Cloyd's Mountain my entire childhood. That's where our big farm was over in Eggleston. If anybody knows that area over in Parisburg. Cloyd's Mountain Drive. That's where I learned how to drive, was that if you could maneuver as a young, inexperienced driver through Cloyd's Mountain and those big turns, those rocks that were intimidating. If you got too close to the rail, you'd look over and see that big drop off. I mean, my dad said, if you can learn how to drive this, you're going to be just fine. And to his credit, man, he never really panicked. I was always so locked in, my brother. I remember being scared to death watching my brother learn how to drive. Cloyd's Mountain. Beautiful. Beautiful views. I miss those days. You know, when you're in it and you're working, you think, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. What is my dad doing? Well, you look back on it, and every other thing that's happened in your life, it's like your football coach in high school. I couldn't have stood there, actively decided to fight if I didn't have that experience on the farm and Coach Hicks, right? You miss it. You realize what it meant. And it gives you knowledge about animals, about life, you know, learning about how things are, how to be taken care of, the responsibility of it. He knew what he was doing. Yeah, the Cloyd's Mountain truck stop. That Cloyd's Mountain truck stop, that's after you got off the mountain. It was a convenience store, and that's where I got a lot of my baseball cards, comic books, baseball cards. If we had a good day on the farm, that was one of the places that we would stop, man. It was awesome. That was awesome. What kind of car we learned in the truck. We learned in the farm truck. Learned how to drive in the farm trucks. Dad had quite a few over the years, and we learned how to drive through the trucks. I was Morris. I was 10-2, baby. Ah! Unlike last night when you're coming back, you're just kind of like, oh, look, it's snowing. Better get up to 85. Get home. That didn't happen. Or did it? Worst road for ice in the NRV. Yeah, well, true. True. Good stuff. So next Friday is going to be our extravaganza at the Super Bowl. Next Friday. What's up, TP? Good morning. Come on, TP. You know we start at 6. Yeah, free throws, other thing. That was another epic collapse by Tech last night. And a very fortunate half-court shot that defeated Tech. Morris says us farm boys had the best upbringing. A humble opinion. No, you had to earn everything. There was a time my brother, as he got a little older, got a little rambunctious and would question Dad on why we're not being paid. He goes, do you sleep in a bed every night with a roof over your head? Do you have warm blankets? Do you get fed when you're hungry? Yeah. Then shut up. Okay. Hey. You didn't get allowances for going out on a morning when it was 0 degrees and you having to feed the livestock. Nah, you didn't get, here's a little extra for you. No. The wind wasn't horrible when I came through, but that's where the on the mountain, Wayne, but that's where the big snow was. And when I say big snow, what I mean is that's where the visibility, it was coming down heavy sideways snow. You know what I'm talking about. It's not real snow, but it's higher elevation. So all the precipitation's frozen. And the trucks were, they were all in the slow lane, lined up. They were going very slow with their hazards on. And, you had to navigate over the hill, but the wind wasn't too bad of a factor at all. Yeah, the Cloyd's Mountain Truck Stop. Amazing place, man. And if you ask again, then the meeting started. No, it was pretty straight. But then the thing about it, and here's what slowly happens as you get older. And now Ron Shelburne, same situation, grew up on a farm. The Radford Hall of Famer. You start to care about it so much. Like, as I got older into my teenage years, and it helped prepare me for football. I know the reason I made Joel Hicks' travel team as a sophomore was because of my farm upbringing. There's no question. I was in amazing shape. Nothing you did in football was harder than what you did every morning before school. But then you started to care about the animals. You started to worry, you develop a conscience, and that's part of the whole thing. Oh, I need to do this. Oh my goodness, are the cattle okay? Are the horse, it all just kind of naturally happens. Gladiator Head Culture Club cranked up. No, I was in a university van. We have a fleet of vans, and Neil gave me one of the most rundown vans that you could possibly give someone. I didn't get the good vans. I got one from 1964. But I got back, so that's all that matters. Prometheus says, I remember my dad used to make me and my brother move the wood pile 2 feet. I still don't know why. I wouldn't dare ask. Everything we were asked to do made sense, but there wasn't any choice in the matter. This is the way it was going to be. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Would not trade it for anything at all. Ron says he's coming to the meet and greet. Really? Oh, I hope so. Yeah, come out. Don't feel like, we're not trying to pressure people. It would be great to meet everybody. We're going to be at the bowling alley, for God's sakes, on a Friday. It's going to be, and we're out of there by 9. We're not there late. I have to be out of it late. Did you tell him, Brandon? Did you tell him about the van? All I know is when I turned the van on, Brandon, this is true. You deal with the vehicles, helping out. I got an immediate message about how something was wrong with the tire pressure. This flashing message. I'm like, really? I got this 3-hour drive, 3-hour plus drive, and that's the van I get? Brandon, So immediately I called him and I said, so I just turned this van on and I'm getting this message with that stupid little signal that when you see it, it either means something serious or they just put it there for you to have to pay for something. The little circle, the half circle with the circle in there and the line through it. It's a tire sensor or whatever the hell it is. Okay, he says it's fine. I guess I'm pulling out of the parking lot. I did. I got the one with the messed up tire pressure sensor, yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if it's new, if it's... All I know is the really good van was sitting right there when I pulled out yesterday. We need a revolving list on the wall of Rick's dislikes and pet peeves. Most vegetables dislikes. Dave Matthews Band. But to your point, Wayne, I did have 80s tunes going. I did on my phone. Yeah, it actually did. The van drove fine. But I got to give Neil a hard time. That's what we do. That's what we do. What would be the top of my dislikes list, TLB? Number one? What's my top dislike? Vegetables. Snow. I hate snow. Yeah, I hate winter. Panera. Not a fan. No, not a fan. If you like it, hey, be you. That's fine. Black unis, yeah. For black unis, when it has nothing to do with your school color or your professional team color, absolutely. Black unis for the sake of being black unis, stupid. Everybody's typing in Panera. Well, whenever I get a hankering to have my molars broken out of my mouth, you better believe I'm going to go frequent a Panera. Oh, I know. I can dip it in that soup that stays warm for 21 seconds. What would you like to drink? Just a diet soda. I'm sorry. No, we've got raspberry spiced tea coffee. What? Can I just get a glass of water? Can you just hold a cup under a spigot? I'll be fine. Bad driver guy. Oh, ESPN, yeah. They've done that to themselves, though. I think most people agree with me about ESPN. Yeah, I'm not a Hurd Street guy either. No. He's all about the brand. He's not about much else. His own brand. Yeah, Black Unis is way up there, TP. Black Unis is up there. Romo's terrible. I never seen a guy get so universally fallen from his pedestal a few years ago to now the most hated broadcaster or analyst, football analyst on TV. Yeah, you're probably right, Rodney. Or maybe they would out of spite. Maybe Panera would come on to try to change my mind. As long as I have to sit here and eat those rock hard sandwiches. Yeah, can I just get a turkey sandwich? That's all I want. Would you like some apricot spray on there? No. I just want turkey. Do you have provolone cheese? No, but here's our cheese list. Get a little mayo. What kind of mayo would you like? Mayonnaise. Just give me some damn mayonnaise. It's not disliking Romo. It's just being marveled at how he is terrible and what the hell happened. I had the same reaction as a broadcaster watching the fall of Tony Romo like I do watching the rise of Indiana football. I'm not quite believing what I'm seeing or hearing, but I know it's real. It's not like an innate hatred, but I can't listen. It's terrible. He'll have the Broncos-Bills game Saturday, and I'll just have it muted the whole time because he's going, now that Mahomes is out, he'll be all over some Josh Allen. Whew. I don't know what – and I think Jim Nantz understands how bad it is. Like, you can tell. He's really dragging Nance down. But he got ripped by everybody on it. I mean, it has now become a thing to where people are just like, wow, this is real, how bad it's got. Herb Street is the worst. Yeah, Herb Street is terrible. Herb Street's the worst because he tries to present himself as this superior knowledge. If you just sit back and listen to his comments. Now, I'll tell you somebody who's gotten better in the last few years because he just has no dams to give anymore is Troy Aikman. Troy used to be the fluff, getting paid all this money, and you'd have Joe Buck go, "Oh, the Packers run it for a first down. I'm on green with a great run-off tackle." And then you'd go to, and he'd be like, "Well, what you're going to see here, Joe, watch I'm on green. He's going to get a block, and he's going to run right around the tackle." Thanks, Troy. Wow. But now Troy he's critical. He's ripping officials. He's criticizing players. He's being real, and he's gotten better. He has progressed tremendously, and Romo is just god-awful. The best on TV is Greg Olson as a football analyst. Greg Olson makes all the rest bad. He should be number one for Fox, not Tom Brady, but it's Tom Brady. And I'll tell you this, Tom Brady's gotten better. I know we don't like Tom Brady. People don't like him. But he has gotten better. Yep. That's right. Don't like Reese's Cups. I love peanut butter and I love chocolate. I don't like them together. What can I get started for you? Yeah, I hate that. What? You just ready to take my order? No one was worse than Chris Berman, Knicks fan. Oh, yeah. Back. He could go. Oh, no way. Although that was a time where you didn't mind that show. It was Berman and Tom Jackson. It's before ESPN became what we know. It's before, let's just say it this way. It was before Disney. Before Disney bought them and destroyed them like they do every other IP that they buy. Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek, you name it. Yeah, Paul, he was. When Romo started, he was looking at formations, telling you what he expected to see, strengths and weaknesses of players, didn't have all this, whatever it was, and it has just gone away. And I really believe maybe the NFL told him, look, you're giving away plays here. He doesn't do any of that anymore. It is just gobbling up one player, a star player. Usually it's the quarterback. It's terrible. Yeah, Brady has done that for me. I'm with you. He does a lot of what Romo did early. He does. And you know what? The thing he did the other day got a lot of praise. Did you see in the last game? I don't know what game he did, but he was showing how the grip, because it was a windy game. Now, that was good stuff. He was showing you how, as a quarterback, you had to adjust your grip and how the ball had to be thrown differently. Did y'all see that? Now, stuff like that is gold, man. Yeah, Romo would call it before it happened. He did. And we loved it. Now rumbling and stumbling. Yeah, I'm with you. You know who never rumbles and stumbles? Well, he used to rumble. He never stumbles, is that gentleman. The quintessential source for Tech football, Dwight Vick. What's up, DV? How you doing, brother? Good morning.
I'm good, man. Good morning, man. I caught the end of your segment. Who was rumbling? Is that Chris Berman?
Yeah. We're talking about who's good and bad on TV now. You know, Romo's he's the worst analyst. There's some that are good, very few that are good. Greg Olson, for my money, is the best one on Fox. He is terrific.
Greg is excellent. You know, I sometimes, man, turn the TV down.
Me too. Every game, I mute every game. I'll mute the championship game on Monday. I can't listen to it. I think the problem, especially on the professional level, is and this is even what you see with ESPN, that guys are calling games with agendas versus 100%
guys or women as well, men and women calling games just to call the game, and they don't care. It's not about offending anybody, but just making sure that they call the game objectively and call it like they see it versus like, their golf buddies and stuff. I mean, I do high school games with NSMT, and I've called games with coaches I'm friends with, but I still call it like I see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you got to do. I think sometimes though, guys they get caught up in trying to sway or defend an official or whatever. I don't know, man. It just seems like we've gotten so commercial. It's weird. We're in a weird state of things right now.
Yes, you said it, brother. Weird is a good word. And it doesn't seem like it's getting better anytime soon.
No, yeah, it is what it is.
Well, Tech fans hoping it gets better starting next year. Looks like maybe the class is just about done out of the portal. Grunkemeyer announced yesterday. I don't know how closely you're following these guys. We just talked to Andy about it, but obviously there's going to be a lot of Penn State connection this first year, and he succeeded getting guys he knew, which is great because they know the system. How do you look at this whole thing? And I guess, have you settled into how you judge portal classes? I know it's all so new, and there's so many attributes, so many things that have to happen for it to pay off, like it has at a place like Indiana, for instance.
I'll glance at. I'm in a group. I'm in a couple of group chats where I get. If I don't see it on Twitter, I'll get it in my group chat. I'll glance at a player and look at his highlights, or I'll look at the Twitter announcement, and I'm like, that seems like a great pickup. The edge rusher they got from Missouri was a kid I was high on. I like some of the pieces. I didn't want to wait till August. I'm a little different than a lot of fans or observers or former players or even people that cover it. I am very level-headed because that's just the way I am. That's the way I'm built. So I don't really get caught up in sensationalizing additions because, you have to kind of come together and be a cohesive group. I think I've said before, the biggest problem I had with Tech football was the lack of accountability and inconsistency in effort and coaching. So being part of a program that I helped build and being part of a program where, we averaged 9.5, 10 wins this season, I'm not about to look at a team that is announcing they're running it back when they won 3 games. What are you running back? A 3-win? Just say I'm coming back. I know
exactly. I hate
it's
that.
a new era. I know social media. I'm very active on social media, and I love a lot of these kids. But they must be telling them we got to do this to get the energy up, man. But Franklin has brought a lot of energy to Tech and recruiting. He's a masterful recruiter. You could tell when he gets a guy one-on-one and he gets in front of their parents. He's believable. He seems very sincere. He has an energy about him. But all we have right now is talent. We don't have any wins. And talent is great. But I've knocked the Miami Hurricanes for decades, a program that I was undefeated against, a program that only thing I'm jealous of is their national championships, but a program that is mightily underachieved until this year. And they've had more talent typically than most teams in the country. So talent is great, and people are like, oh my God, he's this star, or he looks great, or he's a dog. That's a word that's misused too much too. Dog. He's a dog. Yes. He's a dog. Stop it. Stop. We don't know if he's a dog until we see them play.
You know what a dog looks like. These people saying that they don't know.
Again,
you were there with them.
Yeah, I just think, and again, I know I sound like the OG, the old head, but I'm not. I'm telling you, I think excitement sometimes blinds judgment, where because you so desperately want the team to get relevant again, and you see all these rankings, and the rankings make you feel good because we have been irrelevant really since Fuente's first year, maybe his second year when they won 9 games and finished with 4 losses, ranked 19th in the country. Since that year, we've been irrelevant, and it's unfortunate because it's a very proud fan base, a proud program, but I just want to look and make sure that the nuts and bolts are making sure that we get wins, that everybody involved in the program, from the training staff, the medical staff, the janitorial cleaning crew, everybody is doing their job. The maintenance, everyone, like the scoreboard keepers, everybody has to do their job in order for this thing to run right. And everybody has to understand what the agenda is, and that's Virginia Tech football first, your needs second. And I just think that's what needs to be at the forefront. Accountability. And again, these signees are great. I think Tech has a top 3 portal class. I don't know how you rank a portal class. I guess you go off because they'll say the announcement will say the former 4-star recruit or the former But again, I've been around long enough. I've seen a lot of 4-stars not materialize. So for me, my biggest intrigue and interest is whether or not this staff can coach and develop the talent. That's the biggest thing. Everyone else can argue on Twitter and argue with JMU and Penn State fans and UVA fans about this. I don't get involved in that. If you come for me, I'm gonna troll you and I'm gonna block you. So you know, I mean, I'm not gonna. I have too much stuff to do to go back and forth with a random fan about their opinion. I will have a great dialogue. I enjoy that, but all right now, this is how it is when it's only one game left in the season for college football. Everybody's positioning themselves to make themselves feel better about what we have. And I will say, if you're a Tech fan, you should be optimistic. But it is January, and it's a little bit of ways before we get to August when we put the helmets on for real and we start seeing how this thing shapes up on the field.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. You're so right. It just everybody who's been brought in, whether it's Tech, oh, what a great get. Oh, he's going to be a dog. You have no idea. Most of these guys that Franklin's gotten haven't played. Some have, most haven't. It's the way it is across the country, right? If you're trying to have guys there for more than 1 year, you're going to have to, multiple year guys haven't played much yet. The guys you're bringing in for a quick fix, like UVA did, they're out doing it again. Everybody, you and I were talking about that. UVA have the same mindset. Sure enough, they have. They're spending more money this year than last year because that's the way they're doing it, right? And it paid off for them last year. So.
Yeah, but every year is a different year, and no shade at UVA whatsoever. But I just think you got to make sure that the pieces make sense. I got a podcast coming out with Ahmad Hawkins, the UVA sports radio guy, one of my longtime friends who played at UVA. He covers the team along with Wahoo's 247, Jackie Franchuli. She is also on 247, and she's very insightful, very knowledgeable. One thing UVA did last season, and they had a great job of not in the portal, but it wasn't even ranked high, wasn't even a highly ranked portal class.
No, it was not.
What Tony Elliott did was he did a great job of holding those players accountable, but him and his staff did a great job of putting the right pieces on the field. So can you replicate that? That's yet to be seen. That's very difficult because they had a record season, the most wins in program history, even though they fell short in the ACC championship game. But you got to be careful who you bring in. Some of these guys, not all, a handful of these guys might be available for a reason. And that's why you got to be careful. You got to be careful, man, because, all the money involved, and I'm coming here to eat, I'm coming here to play. Franklin, the biggest challenge he has is to make sure all these guys buy in what him and his staff are pushing as far as the vision for Virginia Tech, not the vision for your bag. And that's the difference.
You said it right, and that's the thing. There's a lot of assumption. Well, all these guys are leaving their school because they just want to be a part of Tech and Franklin, or they want to be part of Texas Tech. Or no, they may not have any other options. Penn State likely didn't work too hard to keep those guys. They didn't. New regime there too, right? Matt Campbell wanted his guys from Iowa State, just like James Franklin wanted guys he was familiar with. You're right. It comes down to just how the trickle down goes. And there might be guys out there that know that they could never go back to the school they went to for things that didn't develop or things that they had done. And coaches know, but that stuff doesn't usually come out, does it? You don't usually hear about that publicly.
No, yeah. You get the inside scoop once you get on campus, or, stuff gets leaked out. Like, it's so funny to me, man, because the beat writers, and Andy and David are my guys. But when Pry got fired before he came back, then you started hearing all these things about practices not starting on time and the lack of accountability. I'm like, why y'all ain't report that when he was here?
Exactly.
And then the pushback I got was, well, you can't ruin relationships. I'm not going to curse this morning, but bump that. Like, I'm just saying, like, call him out. Hey, coach, we've been here for 30 minutes. I mean, what's going on? You guys seem like you've been starting practicing late. I think the thing for me is, and maybe this is because I'm new school on some stuff and old school on others, I think for me is when you have been part of, I played for Hall of Fame coaches and Mike Smith at Hampton High, Walter Brower in basketball at Hampton High, and Frank Beamer. And you can include Bud Foster and other guys like that, right? So for me, my whole life has been accountability and working hard, and the results will come later. We are pushing the agenda and across a spectrum of college sports, the landscape of college sports is hype before results, manufactured toughness with hashtags before output and outcomes. And that's what I will never sign off on. I'm never going to sign off on, oh, this guy's a dog. He know he's a 4-star. And, they're paying him $800,000. And I'm like, man, these coaches are getting 6 figures in Southwest Virginia to call a timeout on 3rd and 2 to run the same play they would call the timeout before. Like, I don't get it. But on a positive note, I will say I'm signing off on the kids they're bringing based on presentation, but I'm going to stay in, the phrase? I'm going to stay patient to see what exactly transpires. And here's the thing, Rick. If you look at Louisville, look at Georgia Tech, I know they fell short towards the end of the season, but you look at Wake Forest, a team that won 9 games, right? They beat UVA and Virginia Tech in their buildings, in their stadium. Wake Forest does not have the NIL budget Virginia Tech has. For the fans that jump in my mention talking about more money, that old Damon Wayans movie, you talk about more money. You can never, no matter what era, sacrifice accountability and knowledge and insight on how to run a program and how to call plays and how to call schemes. That part will never change. The teams that are underachieving in both football and basketball have coaches that have gotten a lot of pieces on the monopoly board, but they still don't have the money in their account. You bought Boardwalk, you bought Park Place, you got all these things, but you're still not making money. You're just gathering pieces. And that's what you have to be careful of when it comes to building a program. Wake Forest and Duke just won the ACC with 8 wins. And Virginia Tech is struggling before Franklin got there to get 5 and 6 wins. With all the talent they had, that's more so what I'm talking about when it comes to accountability and really being able to run a program. That has to change immediately.
No, I'm with you. And there's not one college coach that gives any kind of a damn about what some recruiting site has labeled a kid, a certain star kid. They get their stars based on who's recruiting them. You know that as well as anybody. There's not one coach who goes, oh, what did On3 say about this kid? Do we want to go after him? Most of those guys don't know anything about many of these players, especially the portal players who don't have a lot of experience. Yet, hey, let's put a 4-star by him.
Right? I've said that for years. I don't know if your listeners, your viewers know this, but before I started Victory Life, before I started my own podcast, I was working with Rivals. That's
exactly right. Yeah,
I wrote for Rivals called Vic's Viewpoints, and I took that and put it with 247 when 247 first got going with Virginia Tech. Right, I was with Evan Watkins. I was at 247 when Evan Watkins was just coming on. So those are my guys, and I will tell you, some of those guys at 247 and Rivals know how to evaluate. But a lot of them are kids who are fans, analytic guys that go around and they're evaluating guys in these dry fits from Dick's Sporting Goods. And he's an animal. He's 6'4". He's got the measurables. Look at his offers. I'm like, I think the stars and the rankings make people feel good. But, I'm not going to name any kids, but just with my alma mater alone, I've seen so many guys, even during the Beamer era, that were highly touted but couldn't handle the regiment of a college football practice. They couldn't handle being 4 hours away from home. They couldn't handle going to class, getting their books, and being on campus. They couldn't handle earning a spot because in youth football in high school, they were given a spot. That's the part where a lot of fans don't know because they haven't been there. I know for a fact, many of these guys that work at these sites are lazy. They evaluate from the living room or their office in their house. They haven't gone out there and watched a guy. And don't tell me about his 40 and his vertical when we got guys that have great verticals that were getting beat every Saturday in Lane Stadium. They weren't jumping, attacking the high point of the football. That's where coaching comes into play. We got a kid, I'm a little biased because he's one of my best friends, Lauren Johnson's son, who left Virginia Tech, was not seeing the field, goes, Braylon Edwards, to Wake Forest and starts at safety, and he wins 9 games. So was it Virginia Tech or was it Braylon? I mean, again, so this is why coaching matters, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is why coaching matters, man. So I am always going to be the voice of reason and level-headedness, if that's a phrase, because I just feel like that keeps me sane from being let down. There's been times in my history as an alum and a fan and a former player where I've kind of let the hype get me when I'm like, okay, wow, we should be really good. We got 21 or 22 players coming back. And then like that movie Major League 2, when Wesley Snipes and Charlie Sheen come back, everybody is good. Everybody's comfortable because they got money. And money does not mean you're going to be good. It just means you have more money.
Right.
So that's the part I'm looking at. And the rumor is, the word on the street is Franklin doesn't overpay for people. So one thing I'm hearing is that a lot of players are looking around like, what's going on? Like, no, you're not going to get that anymore because you haven't played in 3 years, or you've been injured, or you've been struggling. And that's how it's got to be. That's how corporate America works. That's a life lesson that they got to understand. So I'm rooting for this team to do well. I want all these kids to get their paper. I want these kids to understand their worth. I want them to get the brand that they've earned the right to do. But I think accountability in the locker room and leadership. Like, one thing I'm going to be curious to see with all these new players is, come this fall, who are Virginia Tech's leaders on and off the field? I feel like one of the things I've been saying for years on your platform, Rick, is that we don't have typically the leadership that we should. Like guys like Brian Randall and Brandon Flowers, Cam Chancellor, Macho Harris, those kind of leaders. Jason World's leadership, Daryl Tapp.
Jason Worlds, wow.
Yeah. You got to have leadership. You got to have leadership. I don't know if Drones was a lead by example guy or talkative guy, but I don't know, regardless of what their rankings were or what they were getting paid, I didn't see a lot of leadership in Lane Stadium, whether I saw them in person or even from my television. It just seemed like they were playing and they were, making plays when they could, but they never seemed like a cohesive unit. And leadership is one of those things that you can't measure. You can't write it up in sporting news. It just pops out to you when you watch a game. It pops out when you watch a team perform. Like when you watch Indiana, you can see who their leaders are. Not just their coach, but who's an extension of that coach.
Absolutely. Every play, every
You can. Yep. So I'm curious to see who's going to be the leaders this year. Who's going to be the leaders in that locker room.
And you're right. Every great Tech team had multiple guys like that. Everyone you mentioned, and you can go back and mention more, that you could just see it. They just were an extension of the coaching staff. Everything that was like how you're brought. I was just talking about being raised on a farm and how that becomes an extension of yourself. Well, that's what those guys do and did for Frank Beamer and Bud Foster and Brian Stein, whoever it may have been. It was, we're going to make sure this gets done. You're right. And Tech has not had that in any way, shape, or form. You're right.
Yeah, and you look at our rival with UVA and Miami, two of our biggest rivals, to me, the rivals along with West Virginia, but not with West Virginia, but with Miami and UVA, they had leadership, not just with their quarterbacks. They had leadership. And I think that's one of those things, like the kid Chad Morris, he was a winner. He's a leader. He played injured. He would get hit like he would just get hit and lay there. And I'm like, Jesus. And he would get up and come back and throw a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's the leadership that I'm looking for, where it's, okay, look, again, you got your money, that direct deposit hit. You got your Hellcat. You got your nice car. You ride around Christiansburg. You got your shorty on your right. You looking real good. You got your drip, your chain. You blink. But when the lights come on, do you disappear, or do you just play because you're getting paid? And that's the part where the nostalgia of the old school college football fans hate it, because it used to be about you could be an individual and still make the team look good and win for your university. And that's what's being lost, is like, I wonder even if some of these guys are even getting degrees. It used to be a time that
yeah.
you know, the football programs would show, hey, we graduated 94% of our players. I'm sure they are for everybody watching and listening. I'm just saying, like, that's also been lost. Having a son who's being recruited and playing right now and still being recruited, it's one of those things where they don't really talk about their programs. They'll say, hey, we got the study hall over here, the computer lab, but it's really about the bag. And there's a balance to that. Because one day, especially with a sport like football, one day you're going to become a Dwight Vick where you're done playing. And what do you have to present to corporate America? How are you going to manage a mortgage? You know, how do you interview? Nobody cares about the 5 bowl games I went to, the leadership. I was named the captain, my all conference. I was on the all Music City Bowl all-time team. Nobody that talks to me wants to know about that. And that's the part where I hope Franklin and the staff at Tech can help these kids understand the connection between the life lessons on the field and how you take that when your career is over and become a coach, a PE teacher, a lawyer, you know, whatever your profession is. Because that will happen. The money's going to come and go. It's like changing money for most of these kids. But at the same time, I got to make sure, you know, I am a therapist, that your mental's right too.
Wayne asked a good question. Would you, Dwight, in your prime, and you're an all-conference player, would you have tried out the portal? Would you think, if you can go, I know it's a tough question, look at your younger self, you were thriving, I mean, you were in the NFL training camp. I mean, do you think you would, as much as you love Tech, and I know how much you do, and it's genuine, and I know that's your favorite place, but do you think you would have tried it out, the portal?
Yes, Wayne, yes. You know why? Because I almost transferred my redshirt sophomore year. Like, I tweeted about this about 7 years ago, but, you know, this is why I know about handling adversity. Like, when I speak about this stuff, I'm not some old guy talking about something I saw from a distance. People from a distance can't tell what is what, right? But I lived it where I was on a competitive offensive line. You're talking about Gennaro DiNapoli, who got drafted by the Cowboys or the Titans, Todd Washington, who's a legendary player, went in the 4th round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Chris Malone, Bill Connolly, you know, Jim Pine came before me. I was there with some of the best offensive linemen in Virginia Tech history. My best friend, along with Todd Washington, Derek Smith, he played beside me. He went to the 5th round to the Washington Redskins. So I'm competing. I was playing as a sophomore and as a freshman, but I wanted to start. I was in the rotation. I would get 30 snaps or play a majority game, but the ego in me was like, I should be starting. Nobody works. I played 1 year in the spring with 2 broken hands, where now guys sit out because their knee is tender, okay? I played the whole spring with 2 broken hands, and I was the starter. I didn't even have to play. My backup, Matt Lair from Woodbridge, Virginia, started the following year. He was trying to take my spot. He ended up getting drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, but the point I'm getting at is I still did it, but I wanted to start. So I called my dad. I almost went to Hampton University. I was in talks with them. It was back home where I'm from, the 757. And my dad and I talked, and he was like, you don't need to leave. You know, you're in a great situation. This is before I met my future wife. I had an apartment in Fox Ridge or Collegiate Suites. I can't remember, but I had an apartment. No NIL, but I was on track to graduate with my 2 degrees like I did. But I almost jumped in the portal for the 90s, which was the transfer portal without what they call it now. And my dad ended up calling, because he's a great man. He's smart. And it's why I feel like I got my initiative from my fatherhood from him, is he called Coach Grimes, who later left to go to the SEC, and he called Coach Billy Height. And I think some of my teammates knew I was getting ready to leave. And I talked to my roommates, and Coach Height pulled me to the side and said, you're not going anywhere. We got plans for you. You're playing. And I was playing. And I ended up staying, thank God. And, you know, ended up starting my junior and senior year at a great run. But I would have explored the portal. I think a lot of guys would. I think the difference is I would explore it. But I wasn't going to leave, and I wasn't bitter. I was just more so wanting a chance to start. But I don't judge these kids for getting the bag, the money. I don't judge the kids for leaving for a better situation. But I'm glad I stayed. I mean, I prophesized my cousin. I recruited him. If I would have left, not to be funny, but Tech doesn't get Mike and Marcus.
That's exactly right. You're the most important recruit of all.
Yeah. It's hard though. I mean, but thank God for my mom and dad. Thank God for guidance. Thank God for rationale and patience. I think that's the hard thing these fans have to understand. Many of these young men and women playing sports today, because women play sports too, they don't have the patience that you sometimes need. Patience is not only a virtue, it's a skill. And you got to have that to really make sure you understand. Don't rush to judgment and judging them. And as a player, don't rush and base your decision on impulsivity. That's the difference. My decision was calculated. I was looking at Hampton. At the time, Hampton University was a playoff team coached by Joe Taylor. They were putting guys in the NFL, and I was like, I'll just go back home. Looking back, that would have been a bad decision. It wasn't so much going back to Hampton would have been bad. It was just more so being around, I didn't need to go back home. I didn't need to go back home.
Did you know Mike was going to be what Mike was? Did you know how good he was? Or did he get to Tech and even surpass what you thought he was going to be able to accomplish, which is change the position of quarterback forever in college football?
I didn't know he was going to have the national iconic impact, but I did prophesize in the article written about me my senior in the Collegiate Times. I remember the guy that he still covers Virginia Tech now. He told Andy Bitter on Andy Bitter's podcast a few years ago, he said, yeah, man, Dwight Vick told me. He actually tagged me in the article. I got to find it. Maybe I'll repost it since it's Throwback Thursday. He said Dwight Vick, and he said, I believe it was his girlfriend, which it was, not my wife. He interviewed me at the field house at Virginia Tech, and he asked me about next year's team. And I said, well, I think Tech will probably play for a national championship. They got everybody coming back, minus me, Pearson Prelo, Ken Carpenter, and Derek Smith. But they got everybody, and Lauren Johnson, but they've got everybody coming back, Engelberger and Corey Moore. And I said, but the catalyst will be Michael Vick. I think he'll be up for the Heisman, and I think they play for a national championship. And he later said that. He said, man, I remember interviewing this guy. He was so confident talking about me and so passionate. I believed him to a degree, but I thought he was just talking crazy. He thought I was, old school 90s reference. He probably thought I was on crack. But I knew Mike was going to be elite because, I'm not going to make this about me, but anyone that knows me, and my grandmother told me this about me, and my wife and my kids will tell you, I'm not about to hit you with I see dead people, Sixth Sense. But I'm able to see things. I prophesized how great Greg Stroman was going to be. So do I miss on things? Yeah, but when I really feel a certain way about it, I'm usually right. And I felt Mike was going to be that difference maker. I just felt like we were very smart, Beamer and Tech and Kavanaugh and Steinspring, and putting all their eggs in the Michael Vick basket and not trying to chase Ronald Curry. I think the problem is people say, well, you got to go after a 5-star. You got to throw your name in the hat. You might, but maybe that hat fits better on his head than it does your head. And getting Mike, it was a game changer. And getting Mike changed the program forever, a program that was already winning 10 and 11 games. So he was great. And I told Mike when I was recruiting him to Tech, is like, look, you see what Al Clark and Jim Drunkemeyer are doing. You come here in this offense with Lee Suggs, Sharon Stitt, Andre Kendrick, Slowakowski, and Browning Wynn at the tight end. The offensive line that brings everybody back, Cadella, Josh Redding, Matt Laird, minus me and Derek, you're going to be great. And Andre Davis and Ricky Hall at receiver. And Mike was nodding. He was like, yeah. And it worked out perfectly, minus that one game, which we led going into the fourth quarter, 29-28. But Beamer chased some points, and Peter Ward was an icon himself. But maybe one day we'll get back and finish what we started. Hopefully, right? Maybe Franklin is the guy. Maybe Franklin and Virginia Tech. Maybe this is the story we've been waiting for, because Tech fans have been waiting.
Hey, you referenced it, and it's one of my favorite movies, and nobody hardly ever believes me. I figured out in Sixth Sense, while I was watching the movie the first time, that Bruce Willis was dead.
I believe it.
It was that scene when they're in the room, and the first time he tells him, I see dead people. And it was the way they did the camera. They kind of slowly zoomed in. And I went, he's dead. I remember he's a dead person.
I
did.
You're a great one for that. I didn't. Only thing I said in the movie when I was watching, I said, yo, this dude never wears a different outfit. I was like, he's wearing the same outfit. Exactly. I'm big on fits, Rick. I'm big on fits. I'm like, yo, I'm a therapist now. I wasn't thinking. That was 1999. I saw that for my old school Tech fans. I saw that movie they call it the Capri in Blacksburg.
Yep.
I saw that movie there, or maybe it was in Christiansburg. I remember, it was in Christiansburg. I saw that movie and I was like, Bruce Willis is my guy, one of my favorite actors.
So good.
And that movie was legendary. Woo. By the way, before I jump off, I know we got to sign off. I'm disappointed we're not playing JMU.
Yeah, let's get to that. Yeah, David and Andy Bitter are all over. David Till is really he's not giving them any leeway there. And my goodness, there's no other way you can say it than they just didn't want to play James Madison.
I mean, why not? Why?
I know.
Look, perception is reality. You can make an argument between JMU and recently UVA that those are the two best programs currently in the state. I'm giving a nod to JMU because 2 years ago they went down to UVA and beat them, and they've been to the playoff. Neither Tech or UVA have, and they've shown that they've had the talent, given what Indiana's doing, given how they keep recycling players at other programs. It would have been great to have JMU and Blacksburg. All time, historically, they have one win against us, which was the Tyrod year, the year Tech won the ACC. And, from a perception point, it just looks like we're playing Maryland next year. We're playing Maryland. Yeah. Why? I live up here in the DMV. Bird Stadium, I'm not going to be disrespectful. It's Thursday morning. Why? We're going to take over that stadium, block a couple of punts, run a punt back, and win 38-16. And that's cool because we used to dominate Maryland annually. But JMU would have been great. Again, man, scheduling is everything. I was talking to my son about this last night. Scheduling is everything. But you know what? By July and August, we'll be moving on. But as of right now, I was hoping to see that game. I got a lot of friends that went to JMU. They're feeling themselves right now. It would have been perfect for them to come in there under a new regime with Franklin and beat them in a competitive game. But respect to JMU, man. You guys put a lot of points on Oregon. The most he scored against Oregon. No other team this year had done that. And you got a great program, first-class university. I'm a Hokie, though, but
absolutely.
Yeah,
you better believe you are.
Yeah, I wanted that game. But, it is what it is. We'll play VMI, Rick.
Yay!
Salute.
By the way, have you seen I'm asking you, the movie guy. I know you've seen Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson.
Yes.
How good is that movie?
It's a classic.
Love that movie.
Man. It's like a good pasta with a fresh salad. When you get the talent of those guys. By the way, man, we got one day when we got more time, we got to talk about top 10, top 5 actors, man.
We got to do a movie. Yeah,
Leonardo, man. My God, I was watching some clips waiting on to jump on your show, man. He's just elite, man. Like everything he touches, Django, other movies. You can go back to his early years in Basketball Diaries, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's crazy, but. Anyway, man, I know I'm up against it, but I appreciate
No, that's all right. This is good stuff. Yeah. This is great. This is great stuff. No, I love it. And also, I want to do at some point, because I don't think he gets enough flowers, at least from this part of the state, I want to get into Mike Smith.
Oh.
At some point, I want to have a whole show with just you and just talking about that. Mike Smith is one of the all-time greatest coaches, not just in this state, but in the entire country, high school football coaches.
The new generation and some of the fans that you see what Oscar Smith, Holland Springs, and Maury is doing, respectfully, it's elite, it's great, it's legendary. But what Mike Smith did for the VHSL and what he's done for the standard of excellence in high school football across the nation will never be duplicated or replicated. What he did. No. Again, man, that's the negative about as we evolve and we don't. it's not all for you on YouTube, even though a lot of his games are. We become prisoners of the moments and think this is new. Like even right now, people talk about my cousin Mike Vick. I mean, there are other great quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, I know he hasn't gotten over that pinnacle in the playoffs, but I don't have a problem when someone says Lamar's better than Mike. That's the whole point of evolution.
That's right.
But what Mike Smith did for my Crabbers, you're talking about it was state championship or bust in the era where 3-7 and 4-6 teams did not go to the playoffs. It was AAA, double A, single A. And you had, 8-2 and 9-1 teams not making the playoffs. And this is when the Peninsula District and the rest of the state was loaded. This is when your district games, there weren't any running clocks in week 3, week 4.
No.
Like every time I look at high school football, I look at what Green Run is doing and Maury and all that. I'm like, Kickertan is getting beat by 70 in the second quarter. I'm like, man, what is this nonsense? But it's because, again, another topic we got to talk about is how coaching on all levels, we have a lot of vacancies because we have lost our way when it comes to getting the right coaches. That's a topic. That's a topic that makes ADs and general managers get mad at me. I don't care. You ain't going to fight me. So the truth of the matter is, you guys are doing a horrible job, a lot of y'all, in picking these coaches. You know it. I know it. The fans know it. It's too many guys. It's too many vacancies. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So
yeah.
Anyway.
No. maybe we'll do like a special show some point. I'd like to talk about all that stuff, man.
Well, hopefully if I'm there for the spring game, we've talked about this for the last 3 or 4 years. The schedules haven't worked out. Maybe we can do like on the grassy knoll on the field or something. You get some space. I know you had the studio. I couldn't get there that one time. When I come back to Virginia Tech, man, in 3 days, I try to hit everything from Hardee's Sweet
I know
Tea
you do.
to going to the bookstores, to going to different places, reminiscing about some late nights.
Well, of course. Yeah, just when you're coming back home.
Yeah, it's my second home, man. So, anyway, I should get the credit for This Is Home. I think I told them that.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
I know. I'm with you. Nah, that's good stuff, man. That's great stuff.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it.
No, thanks, brother. Great, man. Great to hear from you. Peeps are going nuts here in chat as always. I hope you have a great weekend. But, real quick, who wins? Miami, Indiana?
Indiana, man. Indiana. I'm going Indiana. I think they've been the best team all year. I would not be surprised if Miami makes it interesting, but Indiana has run through everybody all year. I think Cignetti is I think he's ahead of his time. I think we're going to start to appreciate him more and more probably later on because what he's doing is remarkable. And his teams are always prepared. I think Miami's injuries are going to catch up with them a little bit. But I just, for the casual fan or the fan like you and I who will love a great game, I hope it's a great game. But I got a funny feeling that Miami's going to make it interesting in the beginning, but Indiana is just going to come out. The story with Indiana that's not talked about enough is their defense. Yes. Their defense makes plays. They're just really good, man. They're really talented. And it's so funny, man, because on my Facebook page, I had a fan who's an Alabama alumni. He played Damon Baker. He played basketball at Alabama. And he was my basketball teammate. He's a year ahead of me. And he said, the portal, because this is the third straight year that no SEC team has played for the national championship. Yep. And he said the portal has evened up the playing field, which is why, bringing it back to This Is Home, for you Hokie fans out there, if Franklin can do and replicate what he did at Penn State, you'll have a chance. And like Jack Nicholson said, and when Mars attacks, that ain't bad.
Wow, we're getting Mars attacks references. Wow, great. So good. So good.
Yeah. I got Indiana, man. Hopefully I'm not wrong. I will say this. No shade to my Cowboy fans. Well, maybe a little shade. If Miami wins the national championship, Michael Irvin is going to go crazy. And Miami fans, like Cowboy fans, are going to be insane. You are going to see more U's thrown up, more Miami. It's going to be like a northeastern hits the entire coast of everything.
Absolutely.
It's going to be
absolutely.
Miami fans going to be coming out like zombies in a Thriller video. Just coming out like,
Every sporting goods store you go in will have you.
Oh my God!
It'll be pasted shoes.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
You're gonna be at the red light and you're gonna look to your right. Someone's gonna say, "It's the you." You're gonna be at church and the preacher's gonna say, "How about those Canes?" Everything is gonna be Miami. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, this was fun, bro. This was fun.
It was fun. That's great. That's great. All right, brother. Listen.
All right.
Great weekend, man.
All right, y'all be blessed, man. Thank you.
All right, you too, man. I know we're 10 minutes over. What the hell do I care? It's my show. Thanks, Dwight. Oh, that was great. That was great. The best. We're going to do some stuff. We got to get, when he has time, and watch his podcast, the stuff he's doing, talking about football in the region. And Mike Smith, we're going to do something about Mike Smith. When I was little, didn't know anything about anything, I knew about Hampton Crabbers football. Right? He created a brand before you even knew what that meant. I mean, it was just legacy, man. You know, like Dwight Vick, legacy. Great stuff. Great stuff. And I'm telling you the truth. I figured out Bruce Willis was dead in Sixth Sense. I did. The people who watched it with me, unfortunately, one person is no longer here. They can vouch. All right, great stuff. We're going to have the Finally Friday show tomorrow. Mike Ashley's in Puerto Rico. So I can't remember what we got going on tomorrow. I think I'm going to get Coach Elmo back on. I'm going to ask Coach Elmo if he can come back. And I know Jen will be here. I don't know if something else is going on. I don't know. I haven't had much sleep. I got to go to work. But anyway, everybody take care. Please subscribe, like the channel. Tell everybody, Dwight, how good was that? Andy was great. You don't get that. I mean, it's just so good. So good. Be good, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Stay safe and stay